Hello, everyone. If you're watching live, I'm late. If you're watching on playback, I'm right on time. All right, so I'm sure you're wondering why am I an hour late? Well, I had a little medical procedure thing, which I'm gonna go over with in the beginning of the show right now, just to kind of go over and bring that back. Just get the camera. So, a lot of stuff going on this week. Moving a bunch of stuff, getting a lot of things changed. So things look a little messy. Things look a little unorthodox. I'm not in my regular position. Times are a little off, but it's okay. We're gonna make it through this week. We'll be all right. So, what's the medical? What's the medical thing for? All right. So over the weekend, we had the passing of two good men, and I wanted to talk about that. So one of the men was Robert the Rabbit, or Rabbit, as he was called, Pitts. Robert Pitts. He's a car guy. And why does he matter? Uh, he had he had some really great stories to talk about with a lot of stuff in automotive and everything. And you can see those stories on the VinWiki page of YouTube. So just type in VINWIKI VinWiki and look up Robert Pitts, or Rabbit as he was known. A lot of great stories, a lot of fun stuff. He started, I believe he was a radio announcer at the time that he joined that channel, and had a whole ton of stories from him growing up and being a car salesperson and selling cars on eBay and just going through all the stuff. And it was a lot of great stories to listen to, and they're always fun. And he was actually filming a series for Netflix called Tex-Mex Motors, where they were buying vehicles from Mexico, uh, bringing them back to life, selling them to people through the Americas, almost anywhere that people would buy. And I'm gonna check that series out because I didn't even know it came on. It came on in June, and I was surprised to hear that it was on. So he finished season two, was going through season two, feeling kind of weak, loss of appetite, kind of wasn't himself, and he was losing a lot of weight, which he thought was great because he's doing the shows. So he went and got checked out. They thought it was an acid. They kind of just gave him some quick meds and said, you should be all right. He got to a point where he had a lot of pain, and he ended up having stomach cancer. And it was pretty bad by the time they really got to it, where they could find it and and maybe try to do something with it. It was already too late. So he was 45 years old. He passed away on Sunday. And, you started hearing about it on Monday morning, what was going on with that. Because he really didn't want anybody to know about it. He really just wanted people to, laugh and enjoy the stories that he had and all the car stuff that he did. So, a sad passing. And then, what was it, hours later, I heard the passing of Sid Udy, which if you're a wrestling fan, you'll know who that is. He was Sid Psycho, Sid Vicious, one of the skyscrapers, really tall guy, really big guy. He was a good wrestler, had a lot of great matches, had a couple title runs. He also passed away from cancer on Monday. And hearing both those stories, it really kind of stops you. And I have a few other friends who are battling cancer right now. And so for the last couple months, I've been going and giving plasma and hoping that, this plasma can be used to facilitate a cure, maybe. They use the plasma for medicines and to test stuff with. So hopefully my stuff's the good stuff. I mean, I hope I'm like Wolverine where it can just heal anything. I heal pretty quickly most times and I don't really get sick. So hopefully they can use my stuff and actually, maybe make even just a medication that could stop cancer. I've done other things with it. I've done these stand up to cancer runs. I've done, the fundraisers and everything. And it stops you in your tracks when you hear people die of it. Yes, there are people dying every day of cancer, but it really hits you hard when you know that person. And so to have those two go that quickly, like one after the other, so I went tonight and it was a little crowded tonight, so I didn't quite get out in time, but I wanted to let people know that, the service is there, the plasma clinics across America that take your plasma, use it for medications, use it for testing cures and stuff like that on there. So, giving blood is another great thing to do. You need that for injuries. You need that for pregnancies that go bad. You know, any type of blood loss function. Your blood helps others. So certainly, if you've been thinking about it, I encourage you just to talk to somebody who already has done it, and find out how it's done, what goes into it. It is a medical procedure, so there are risks to that. So that's why I say first, talk to someone who's done it, ask them about it, ask them how they felt with it. That way, you'll know. Consult with your physician, consult with the physicians at the facility that you're going to, whether you're going to donate blood or donate plasma. But certainly think about it, because, I myself, I know I'm going to die. I already have a plan. I just living my life till then. And I've always said, if you could bring me back, because I'd like to see what life's like in 100 years. But there are a lot of people who don't see it like me, and I understand that. I don't push this on anybody else. But there are a lot of people who are trying to hold on to every moment they can, whether it's for family or the situation they're in, or for whatever reason, they don't want to die. And if this can help them get a little bit longer, a little bit more time, I think it's a great thing. So that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. And so it's a little later than normal, but I wanted to bring that up. I do have a few more topics to go through tonight, so let's get the show going. I am the angriest man in Orlando, aka Alistair. You'll find out why some other episode, why that is, but I'm in my angry sessions chair, and we're going to go through some stuff that kind of made me angry for the week, and we'll discuss it. And I'm going to open up my comments section. If anyone wants to leave a comment, leave a chat, go ahead and do that. If you want to leave a comment later, I'll talk about it later. So let's get into it. So no fancy graphics tonight, no fancy songs, no fancy stuff. So if you want to look into these things, most of them you can just Google search and you'll find most of them. All right, so first topic tonight. There was an article over the weekend from Fox News talking about a single mom with 2 kids finding a hotel room was much more affordable than her apartment that she was living in. So you think, okay, yeah, economy's dropping, prices are going really bad, can't get anywhere. Home prices are high, rent prices are high. Like, okay, kind of makes sense that was the story. That was the headline, at least. Let's go into the story of it. So it's a woman in her 40s. Her kids are in their teens. She lives in Avon, Connecticut. Kind of pricey area. She's renting an apartment, a 3-bedroom apartment, for $2,700 a month. I know what you're saying. That's almost the mortgage payment right there. Okay, keep that in mind. So she is putting out to try to find an apartment that's cheaper. The Avon Inn sends her an email, says, hey, we're looking for more long-term renters, and we might have something that fits what you're looking for. We have great amenities, like swimming pool, arcade room, continental breakfast every morning, weekly cleanings for your room. So we'd love for you to come check it out. So she checked it out. It was $2,200 a month. She'd be saving $500 a month off her rental fees. Read into the story that possibly she either couldn't afford it or she was getting kicked out of that apartment. It's one of the two in that story. So it was on Facebook, shared by Fox News. I read the story. It's like, okay, it's kind of weird how you wrote it. So let me just throw in the comments, because maybe I missed it somewhere. Why is she a single mom? Well, you would have thought I dug up Hitler and reanimated him, because the comments were insane. Now, I don't know what happened. It was either Fox News or it was Facebook. They took away a lot of them. I can only pull up one or two now. And they ranged from, why are you a douchebag, to why are you trying to say that she's a single mom? And because the headline says it's a single mom. And so there's a million reasons to fix this. There's a million reasons to go through it. But I'm going to say, let's just do a couple off the top. One, she could just move to a new area that isn't as expensive. The kids may have to switch school, but hey, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. Two, she could get a roommate. Maybe she has a single girlfriend. They could live together, do babysitting stuff, work some kind of deal out, split the rent. Maybe that could work. Three, maybe she's going back into dating. Maybe she's going to meet a great guy. They can have 2 incomes for one home, and maybe that would work for her. But I thought the funny thing was, when I thought about it later, was that Fox News wrote it like that to get exactly what they got. They easily could have wrote it, mom of 2, struggles to pay rent at apartment, chooses cheaper hotel room. Could have wrote it like that. Now, I still don't know, because nobody answered my question. I don't know if she divorced her husband divorced her husband died, she never got married. I have no clue. All I know is she has 2 kids, boy and a girl. They're teenage age from what the photos show. She's living in a hotel. The kids love it because they get a pool and an arcade room, and they get breakfast every morning made. So, is it really that it's such a struggle, or is it that you put yourself in the struggle? Because I feel like that's what happened here. She put herself in the struggle. Fox News saw it and decided to make a crying case out of it. Well, I wasn't crying over it. So I decided to ask a simple question. is, why was she single? Because it goes to the effect that you have a cause, which is, hey, you're a single mom. The effect is you can't afford everything. So, how did you get into that position? You didn't create those children by yourself, or at least it didn't say. And if you had the money for IVF, then why didn't you have the money to actually live? So, I've been thinking about the whole red pill thing. It's being thrown around again as the election comes on, as people get bigger in their spots on talking about all this stuff. They talk about how marriage is a terrible thing. It never works anymore. You either, the wife becomes a doctor, the guy gets aggravated, he's not making more money, he gets mad, he gets divorced, he wants spousal support. Or, husband opens his own business, makes tons of money, wife lives with that for a while, gets all her stuff paid for, then decides, no, I don't want that. Gets a divorce, they have to go through cutting up all the stuff. And you're seeing it right now with J-Lo and Ben. They're going to have to go through some stuff. But Hollywood people are completely different. So, because Hollywood people, it's, if you have an argument, you can go spend a month in Europe away from this person and then come back. I don't know why there are so many Hollywood divorces. So if you're just angry with the person, just go live in Australia for a month, come back, see how you feel. But regular people can't do that. So regular people say, hey, I've seen everybody else go through it. I'm going to get a divorce. They actually have divorce parties on Facebook now. This is insane. So you get married, you have a couple kids. The point of it is there should be two. Two parents, two incomes for the household. Like, that's what it was built on back in the day. I know modern day people, the modern audience, will say, oh, well, you can't say that. Single parents are struggling, but they're independent and they're doing it on their own. Really? Really? Then why are we seeing stories like this? Come on, people. I think everybody knows what's going on. You just don't want to talk about what's going on. So, part of it is, yes, people are trying to do this single life thing because they want to do their own way, and it's not working out very well now that the stimulus money's dried up, now that the jobs are drying up, which goes into my next topic of the economy is drying up. The economy is slowing down. Things are changing. People are going to have to prepare for this stuff. But certainly out of this, two incomes are better than one. So don't make stories to simply have people crying about it, rather than simply saying, well, why aren't we getting inflation down? Because they don't want to get inflation down. They want inflation at 2%. They want prices to keep going up. Why aren't there more jobs? Well, people have stopped shopping. Something happened in the spring of this year where people stopped shopping. Airlines are deep discounting now. People aren't traveling. Most of your stores are reporting terrible guidance for the rest of the year. The only one who seems to be knocking it out of the park right now is Walmart. Nordstrom came out today, said they did okay, but the rest of the year looked a little shaky. So people are slowly dialing back buying all this stuff, which, if you don't have stuff moving, you got to lay off people. You got to lay off your salespeople. We don't have as many sales got to lay off the orders. So there's not as many orders being made. So you have people standing around at the factory. You got to lay them off. You see how this cycle works its way backwards down the line, and before you know it, you've got a lot of layoffs, a lot of people on unemployment. So you have to start looking now into how you're going to weather this storm coming. This is the meteorologist, Channel 9 News, saying there's a storm coming. Is it a tropical depression? Is it a hurricane? We're not sure yet. I'll tell you why. We have to see what the rate cut is for September. If you watch my show going all the way back to January, I said it. The earliest rate cut that was going to come from the Federal Reserve Bank was going to be September. I looked at the charts, I looked at the timing of everything, and I freaking nailed it. So, September is coming. 90% signal that there's going to be a rate cut. We just have to see how much. Are they really scared? Or are they just a little scared? That will tell you if it's going to be a tropical depression or a hurricane. A depression or a recession. So, get prepared now. Start looking. Find out what's happening. And just get ready for it. Like I said before, buy if you need it, but don't buy if you don't need it. So the economy dropping, prices are out of control on a lot of stuff. I'm searching for a truck myself, for a work vehicle. I had the same truck, 3 different ones, range from $17,000 to $28,000. They have no idea how much any of this stuff is. It's a used Chevy Silverado pickup truck, about 6 or 7 years old. They have no idea how much any of this stuff is, new or used. They have no idea how to price it. Auctions are going through right now where they're trying to sell vehicles to dealers. Dealers don't know what to pay for them. They don't buy them. Stuff's just floating around now between dealerships, trying to find somebody who doesn't realize how much it is either and says, yeah, I'll buy it. Do your due diligence with anything you're buying right now, because there's some really good deals and there's some really terrible ones. So you're going to see that happening. People are getting shaky right now. People don't know what's going to happen. So you're going to see this weird kind of malaise across people. Well, I kind of want to sell my home, but I don't know. I thought it was worth $500,000, but now somebody's saying it's only worth $400,000. I don't know what it is worth. Does anybody know what it's worth? That's the type of talk you're going to be hearing over the next couple months. Sometimes you're going to be able to walk in and get a great deal with that. And they'll say, hey, I'm getting some money out of it, so yeah, well, let's sell. And then you'll have other people that just say, no, I'm going to hold out. I'm going to hold out. I'm going to hold out. I hope they're not the last one holding the bag, because that will be the worst loss out there. So keep an ear to stuff going on over the next couple months. You're going to hear it. The news is going to be putting this out more because they want you to be fearful. Fear is running everything right now. So they want you to be fearful. So they're going to tell you what's kind of going on. Some of it will be a little fudged, but most of it's been fudged this whole time. They just reported over the last year from March to March, they misquoted the jobs numbers by about 818,000 jobs that were never there. So yeah, numbers are going to be a little fudged, a little bit. But pay attention to what's being put out there. As I said with the article, single mom. Who does that bring out? That brings out the masculine men who are male chauvinists and just can't stand a single woman. No, it's not we can't stand a single woman. Well, some of them we can't stand. But it's sometimes you don't have to be in that position. Especially being a single mom, you don't have to be in that position. Something happened. Curious to know why. And there are other options. So they do it for a reason, to get the reaction. So be careful reading some of those stories. As for single people, here's what I would say. It's going to be a cold winter. You might just want to start going back, hitting up those single nights, try another run at the online dating thing. Don't jump into anything that looks bad, but 2 incomes are better than 1. So, you might want to try it. And as for those red pillars that say marriage is terrible, dating is horrible, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Like, you keep saying, well, there's less marriages, but there's more divorce. So, like, what do you want for an alternative? You want people just living together? Like, that doesn't work very well. People end up saying, well, that's my stuff, and that's my stuff, and that's my stuff, and they just go after each other. It doesn't end well like that. So, I don't know what an alternative is. I think you kind of have to have a little faith, a little trust. But be a detective. Look at the scene. Look what's going on around you. Pay attention to stuff. People who are lying and deceiving can't keep it up all the time. You'll catch something there that tells you something's not right. So I think I've wrapped on those two for a little bit. So my last topic of the night, RFK Jr., he steps back. I heard the announcement when he made it. Basically, what he's doing is suspending his campaign, and he's taking his name off the ballot of states where he thinks he would be too much of a decisive vote. So if he thinks he would hurt Trump more, he took himself off the ballot. Smart move. Basically what the French did in their election. They'd have the middle group and the left-leaning group cohort together, pull one name out so you could get more support for the other party, and basically run over the far right. So it's a smart move. Here's the thing, though. I don't know if it's a win for Trump or a win for Harris. I think a lot of people who went for RFK Jr. were kind of leaning left center. I think they didn't like Joe. They didn't like Trump. So they said, hey, I'm gonna go with RFK. Okay, Joe leaves. They nominate Kamala. And I think maybe some people said, okay, I don't really like her, so I think I'll stick with RFK. I certainly can't do Trump. Okay? So now RFK steps out, steps in with Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard stepped in also today. So the supporters for RFK Jr., who are left-centered, now have a decision. Do they go with Donald Trump, who they said they would never vote for? Or do they go to Kamala Harris, who don't really know, don't really quite get, but at least she's not Trump? I think a lot of those people are going to have a hard decision to make. I think some may have already went over to Harris. I think the numbers may help a little for her. Do I think it's a beatdown like they have 54 to 49% saying Harris wins this thing? I don't think it's that. I think these polls are still really, really skewed towards putting Harris over. But I think it's definitely evened up the race to where maybe you're a point or two away from each other right now. And I think RFK is going to have to hit the trail with Donald Trump to kind of pull some of that support back over to him. He had a very left-leaning vice presidential candidate. So, they weren't exactly trying to hit right center even. So, it's going to be hard to pull those people over. Now, can they do it? I don't know. We've still got, 2 more months? September, October, and then right into the first week of November, we're voting. So, there's still a lot of time. This is one of the longest election cycles that's been around in probably maybe 100 years. So, to where you knew both. Now, I know. Oh, they just switched it up. No, come on. A lot of people knew Joe wasn't really running. And they knew it was going to be somebody else. Who it was going to be, didn't quite know. You could have bet in Vegas on that one, but you knew it was going to be somebody else. So we've kind of known who's running what there for a while. So there's still a lot of action to happen. You've got September, you've got the debates, you've got the October surprise that usually happens. You still got a lot of action out there. If something goes bad, globally, and the government can't handle it quick enough, I think it sinks Harris. I think it sinks Harris really bad. Now, here's a wild conspiracy theory. Harris is going down anyway. Harris is just put out there as the donkey decoy to take the loss. And Democrats don't even care. I'm talking about the round table with Democrats and the real leaders of the party. They don't care about 2024. 2024 is done for them. They're working on 2028. They know Donald Trump. He wins this one. He does his policies for 3.5 years. We step in 2028. We change them all back. That could be their thinking. That could be crazy conspiracy, but that could be their thinking. Who are the Republicans going to run in 2028? Is there going to be another third-party candidate that comes out of nowhere like RFK Jr. and puts a stunner on the whole election for 28? Democrats may already be working on 28 right now. So let's see what happens after this election. If there's, a quiet loss, I'll say, they may be way ahead of the ball on this. So we'll see what happens. We got a couple more months. RFK's got to be out there, beating the drum. This is why I stepped out. This is why I'm going with Donald Trump. He's got to be out there. He's got to be talking about it. He's got to keep that narrative out there, because as we've seen with the cycle, narratives take about 1 or 2 weeks and then they're out. Is anybody talking about the presidential assassination of Donald J. Trump? Not many people are talking about it anymore, and that was just in July. So you got to keep it in the news cycle. You got to keep it going. You got to keep people talking about it. That's the way you move people. So those are the topics tonight. Quick show tonight. If it's live, sorry for keeping you up. If it's on playback, hey, you're watching this whenever you feel like, so you can always pause, start over, rewatch it, fast forward, rewind, do whatever you gotta do. But have fun with it. And feel free to leave comments later on. I am kind of in a different mode of doing it tonight, so I don't see any comments tonight. But thank you everyone for watching whenever you watch. This is the Angriest Man in Orlando, and I have a special little thing. We are working with Rumble to try to do a phone line so that you can call in to tell me what you're angry about. So we're working on that with Rumble. Once we get that fully up and running, we'll do a couple test runs and see what we can do, and then we'll go for it. It'll be like the old time radio shows. So we're working on that. I will be on the 2 Men in a Room show on Thursday nights on the 2 Men in a Room channel on Rumble or YouTube, whatever you're watching on. So thank you for supporting that. Thank you for supporting my show. Thank you for even watching. Thank you for acknowledging me. You guys are great. And as always, stay angry.